The day my wife left me, I lost more than my marriage. I lost my sight. And for a long time, I thought I had lost my entire life. My name is Daniel. I was 42 years old, and I had been married to Sarah for 15 years. We weren't rich. We didn't have a perfect marriage. We argued about money, about work, about small things that seemed important at the time. But I loved her. At least, I thought I did. One rainy Tuesday evening, I came home from work exhausted. I opened the front door and immediately noticed something strange. The house was silent. "Sarah?" I called. No answer. I walked into the living room. There was a letter on the table. My hands began to shake before I even opened it. The letter was short. She said she was leaving. She said she couldn't live with me anymore. She said she had met someone else. And then came the sentence that destroyed me. "Please don't try to find me." I sat on the floor for hours, staring at those words. I couldn't understand how 15 years could disappear in one letter. That night, I barely slept. The next morning, I woke up with a terrible headache. Everything looked blurry. I assumed it was because I hadn't slept. But over the next few hours, my vision became worse. I called my brother, Michael, and asked him to take me to the hospital. The doctors ran several tests. Then one of them sat beside me. His voice was calm, but his words weren't. "Daniel, you've suffered a serious medical emergency affecting your eyes and optic nerves. We're going to do everything we can, but..." He stopped. "But what?" He looked at me. "There is a possibility you may not regain your sight." I laughed. Not because it was funny, because I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "My wife just left me," I whispered. "And now you're telling me I'm going blind?" Nobody answered. For weeks, I lived in darkness. At first, I was angry at everyone. I hated Sarah. I hated the doctors. I hated God. Most of all, I hated myself. I kept asking the same question. Why me? Michael visited every day. He helped me eat, walk around the house, and learn how to use a white cane. One afternoon, I finally broke down. "I can't do this," I told him. Michael sat beside me. "You can. I can't even see my own face." "You don't need to see your face to know who you are." I didn't understand what he meant. Not then. Months passed. I slowly learned how to live again. I learned how to cook simple meals. I learned how to recognize people by their voices. I learned how to walk through my neighborhood using sound and memory. And I discovered something strange. When I lost my eyesight, I began noticing things I had never noticed before. The sound of rain against the window, the smell of fresh bread, the way my brother laughed when he was nervous, the warmth of sunlight on my face. I had spent 15 years looking at my life without truly seeing it. Now that I couldn't see, I finally began to understand it. 1 year after Sarah left, I received a phone call. It was her. My heart stopped. "Daniel," she said quietly. I didn't answer. "I'm sorry." Those 2 words made me angry. Sorry for what? For leaving. I took a deep breath. "Why are you calling me now?" She began crying. Her new relationship had ended. She had lost her job. She said she had realized how much she had taken me for granted. Then she said something I will never forget. "I want to come home." For a few seconds, I said nothing. The old Daniel would have begged her to return. The old Daniel would have forgiven everything. But I wasn't that man anymore. "Sarah," I said, "I spent a year waiting for you to come back." She was silent. "But while I was waiting for you, I discovered something." "What?" "I don't need you anymore." She started crying. I didn't feel happiness. I didn't feel revenge. I simply felt peace. "I hope you find happiness," I told her. "But you can't come back into my life." Then I ended the call. That night, I stood by the window. I couldn't see the stars, but I knew they were there. And for the first time in a long time, I smiled. Losing my wife had broken my heart. Losing my sight had broken my world. But somehow, in the middle of all that darkness, I found myself. I learned that sometimes the people we think we cannot live without are the very people we must learn to live without. Sometimes life takes something from us because it is making room for something else. And sometimes you don't need eyes to see the truth. You only need the courage to open your heart. My wife left me blind, but she didn't leave me empty. Because in the darkness she left behind, I finally learned how to see.